Have you ever heard of a place on Earth where an invisible wall exists? An invisible barrier that no animal, bird, or even fish can cross? Sounds unbelievable, right? But believe it or not, this is actually true. Today, we are going to explore a mysterious place where nature itself created an invisible border. This strange boundary lies between the Indonesian islands of Bali and Lombok. Even though these islands are very close to each other, only about 35 kilometers apart, the animals living on one side can never naturally cross to the other side. Yes, there seems to be an invisible force separating the wildlife of these two islands. On one side, there are completely different animals, birds, and sea creatures, while on the other side, an entirely separate ecosystem exists. The moment you travel from Bali to Lombok, it feels as if you have entered a different world. The environment, the wildlife, even the atmosphere suddenly changes. What makes this even more mysterious is that not only animals, but even birds and fish rarely cross this invisible boundary. You might wonder, what could possibly stop living creatures from crossing a distance of only 35 kilometers? To understand this mystery, we must travel back nearly 150 years in history. A British naturalist named Alfred Russel Wallace was the first person to discover this strange phenomenon. Born into a simple family in England, Wallace developed a deep interest in nature from a young age. Because of financial struggles, he had to leave formal education and work with his father, who was a cartographer. But this decision eventually changed both his life and the scientific world forever. Wallace traveled across many regions collecting plants, insects, and animals. In 1854, during one of his journeys, he sailed from Bali to Lombok. The moment he arrived, he noticed something shocking. The animals on Lombok were completely different from those in Bali. He saw strange species he had never encountered before. This discovery raised many questions in his mind. Why were the animals of these neighboring islands so different? Why did they never mix? Why were even the birds and fish separated? While recovering from an illness during his travels, Wallace spent a long time thinking deeply about this mystery. Slowly, he formed a theory that would later become world famous. Wallace believed that long ago, Asia and Australia were connected. Over millions of years, changes in Earth's climate and rising sea levels separated the landmass.